Hey guys, our team is Fab5, and the project that we have chosen for our design project is the Check Your Car website. And this is our Sprint 1 retrospective presentation. We are a team of 5, with Owen being our Scrum Master, who is also working in the backend team alongside Nathaniel. Damon, Kai, and myself are all working on front-end development for the website as well as UI design. For this project, we are building a website that can help users find recalls relating to their car. A recall is when a car manufacturer finds a fault or an error with a component within the car and then issues a notice so that owners with the same car make and model can be alerted and then contact the manufacturer to arrange for a repair or a replacement of the said component. This can happen anytime throughout the life cycle of owning the car, so it is important for car owners to be quickly notified and identify these as soon as they occur. Our Check Your Car website aims to keep a record of these calls so that users can quickly search for any recalls that have been issued for their car.
So one of the reasons why we chose the Check Your Car project is because the development process contained features we could implement that matched our group's collective skill set. We also chose the project because it has real-world significance for the general market. So for example, it is important that people have a resource available to them that gives them an easy means of verifying whether a registered vehicle that they own needs to be sent back for certain reasons, like, for example, if the model of a particular car make has been recalled owing to having bad quality airbags, for instance. One of the things key to this project was gathering information for features that we needed in order to satisfy our user base. We did this by collating user stories in order to determine our use case scenarios. So for example, one of these stories went like this. As a car enthusiast, I want to be able to customize my car profile so I don't get false messages for the recalls I have already done. As developers, we gathered that we would need to give the user a feature that would allow for adding or removing cars from a profile that they had made. Another story was, as a site user, I want to be notified when any recall or other issues have been added to the site that applies to my car. This would require the user to be able to create a profile, as well as allowing for sent notifications if any recalls were added. We also had this story. I want a website where I can search for recalls before I purchase a car. This would require possibly having a search without the requirement of logging in. And finally, we also had this story. I have multiple cars, so I wish to add those cars under the one account for convenience. This would necessitate allowing for users to add more than one car to their existing profile. We also made use of user points. So this was a scoring system that would help us gauge how comparatively easy or difficult one task would be to perform over another in terms of the design and development process.
So this sprint was our first sprint as a group and basically involved setting up a few technical aspects of the project that we could build on further. So we allocated roles for each group member and sort of based it on who had experience with what or who was willing to give something a go. We also set up a Trello board to act as our checklist and to keep track of what we had done throughout the project and our sprints and plan for further sprints as well. We also set up a working GitHub repository where we would keep all of our source code for future reference. This sprint also involved a team meeting and discussion about what features to include and how to implement them as well.
So one of the tools that was mentioned before was Trello, which allowed us to effectively manage this project. The board allows for cards, which can then be used to categorize and list important points for each part of the project. For example, we added user stories and the relevant features into 2 different cards, and then using user roles, we could allocate members to different teams and then have each team work on a different feature of the website. We can also keep track of what we need to do, what has been done, and what has been completed so that everyone is across this project progress. For files and documents, Microsoft Teams was our program of choice. Not only was it our main mode of communication, but we're also able to collaboratively share and work on files together and make real-time changes. Using Microsoft Teams, we were able to effectively stay in contact with each other and run voice calls whilst working together on files, such as determining the user stories for our website.
So here we have a mock-up of our user interface design made using Figma. At the moment, it's pretty bare bones and it's just acting as a layout and just gives you an idea of what our page will look like. So at the top, you can see that there's a navigation bar with buttons that we will use to navigate between the pages, and also our logo in the other corner that we made for our page. So that's our UI. So what worked in our first sprint so far? Our first sprint got off to a pretty good start, I'd say. Our team members were active in the meetings and enthusiastic when discussing how to work on features and collaborated well together. We also started our development relatively early as we got together and began planning before the trimester break, which put us in a good position early. We also laid out some common goals for what we wanted to achieve on the project.
So in terms of what didn't work, we feel we need to improve on the following tasks. So we feel that we should focus more on how the design process should be done in terms of what the tools that we want to use that would allow us to best collaborate with each other in terms of development and design. We also feel that we need to make sure we have scheduled meeting times set up as early as possible so that we can see where each other's is at and keep on track. Thank you for listening to our Sprint 1 retrospective. We look forward to bringing you the results from Sprint 2.